Hi, this is Stephen Brower from Mountain Valley Community College. This is for CSIT 256, Computer Architecture and Assembly Language. And this video is intended for those that have not used Canvas before, or even any learning management system. Okay, well, what is Canvas? It's a learning management system. And one of the things that it's used for is for the distribution of material. So the slides that I normally would hand out in the class, I have up here in a PDF format, and we'll get to that in a little bit. I have links to YouTube videos that I have created, and what that's supposed to be are like the lectures that I would do in the classroom. Now, if you think of a normal course, you have things like homework. Well, homework will be submitted via the site. So you actually will upload your homework here to the appropriate place. We'll get there. The labs that you normally would do in the classroom, you would need to submit the labs when you're done. Then this tool would be used for that as well. The other thing that you'll be able to see from this will be the grade book. So as the semester progresses, some grades will be going in, and then you can see what your average is as the semester progresses. This might not be a traditional place to start, but what I do want to do is draw attention over to the left-hand side to syllabus. And what I want to do is, once we're over on the left-hand side, by the way, the syllabus tab here that we're in has two purposes. One is, if I scroll down, this is the chronological list of all the assignments for the semester. And it's one place you can go to see what's due. It's chronological. So as we glance, we can see there's stuff for this Monday, stuff for Friday, stuff for Monday, stuff for Friday. And throughout the semester, those items are here. The other part up top is where the syllabus, which has the policies and the book info, which I haven't loaded yet, and then the class schedule is loaded. And the reason why I'm coming here is I want to show the class schedule because it's sort of like a concise view of what's happening at a glance. And so if I scroll down a little bit, at least so we can see the first week. Now, by the way, don't be overwhelmed at how much there is in the first week. There's overlap. What I was trying to show here with some of these footnotes are the chapters that kind of basically intersect each other. So normally, if we look ahead to next week, there would be 4 chapters a week, 2 from one book, 2 from the other. This first week, there is a little bit of extra stuff in it. It looks like there's extra chapters, but there's an overlap, there's an intersect. So material-wise, it's the same, but it just looks a little bit overwhelming. But in general, so what this thing will show is, so what I did is I listed by week. There's 9 weeks for the course. We have 1 week off in the vicinity of July 4th. And so what I do is I list for the week, this first part here, this is the topics, the chapters that we're going to be covering. And then what I use for an online course, for one over a 9-week session like the summer, I pretend as if the course actually would have met in the classroom 2 days a week. So imagine if we met Monday and Wednesday. Well, that wouldn't help. Imagine if we met Monday and Friday, and so there was material due Monday night, material due Friday night. I'm going to use that Monday and Friday as when things are due. You'll just be able to work at your pace when you actually go and submit those items. This first week does have some wiggle room, so don't freak out yet. But what will eventually happen, you'll get into the routine of when you'll work to get stuff done for Monday, when you work to get stuff done for Friday. So in general, I think a way of approaching the weeks is you kind of look at what are the first set of assignments that are done, and what I tried my best to do. So the legend that I have up here, S is for the Stallings book, that's the architecture book. I is for the Irvine book, that's our assembly book. And what I tried my best to do in the assignments is to list which book, which chapter the material is on. And so if we look at the first set of material that is due for this week, it's all from I-1. So that's Irvine Chapter 1, which is listed here, the basic concepts, which means of all this material, of the 6 chapters that are listed here, the 1 chapter to begin at would be this basic concepts chapter. Now later when we get to the content, we'll see you have to drill down a bit in order to find it, but I just kind of wanted to point that out. Looking ahead to next week, I just want to jump to next week. And if we notice for the work due Monday, well, there's a homework that's based on 9 and 11 that's actually from the prior week, meaning from this week. So on the chapters 9 and 11, the homework would be due for next Monday. And then these items that are here, that's S3, Stallings chapter 3, and I3, Irvine chapter 3. So the Stallings chapter 3 and the Irvine chapter 3. So then the Friday stuff for next week, then that would be the S4 and the I4. Would be the new stuff that wasn't there previously. I've had some students in the past tell me what they did is they printed. Okay, in the old days we had this thing called paper, and what they would do is they would print this, and this way they could see things at a glance. As they completed assignments, they could just check it off on the list, and also was an easier way for them to glance ahead without getting on the computer. That's a personal preference. You don't have to do that. I just kind of point out that that is something that you might want to consider doing. So this PDF file here, which was on the syllabus tab up here, that's just sort of like everything at a glance. And part of the reason why I also did that is when we go back, so when I'm going to click up here, this is like going home. So if you ever hear me say go home, I'm referring to click on in the upper left-hand corner our course number, and it'll take you home, which is the view in terms of the modules. So one of the reasons why I wanted to show you that view is that if we go into, if I scroll down, let me do it this way. Let me scroll down to go, well, go slightly off because of this little thing I have here in the bottom. I guess I could turn off the bookmarks, but so this week one, this part here would be the content. So that's where the slides and that's where the videos are. This would be for week one, the assignments, the Monday items, the Friday items. And so for scrolling down, it's sort of vertical. The other one was a little more horizontal. This one would be vertical for looking at a week. In terms of the content, so I'm going to go and click on it, and don't be overwhelmed because it is a very long list of items. And now remember, I pointed out that Irvine Chapter 1 would be a place to start. So although there's a long list, a lot of videos, a lot of PDFs, Irvine Chapter 1 would be a place to start. So if we scroll down to find Irvine Chapter 1, then I have an overview video for the chapter as a whole. Here are the slides. So if we were in the classroom, I would pass those slides out. And then for this Irvine Chapter 1, I do have a series of videos and other links that are kind of embedded throughout. So this would be the material for Irvine Chapter 1. In general, what I'll do each week is I will have either one or two videos with the overview for the week. And the main reason why I did two videos this week, if you notice here, the question being asked in the first one is where the bleep do I start? And I was just trying to, since there is so much information on this first page, I was just trying to basically have people say, well, take a look at this first before jumping into to that. But in general, what I'll have is an overview video that will give the overview for the week. And then each chapter will have its own overview video. So this week one video here gives sort of like a very high level description of all the material being covered. This video gives the highlights. It's kind of like the introductory page of, in this case here, Stallings Chapter 1. This one here gives the intro of Stallings Chapter 2. This one gives the intro of Irvine Chapter 1. This one gives the intro of Stallings Chapter 9. This one gives the intro to Stallings Chapter 11. And this one gives the intro for Irvine Chapter 2. So each week, what I intend to do is have a series of videos for the week and introductory videos for each chapter. The number of videos that will be in addition to a chapter is going to vary from chapter to chapter. And I once was in a faculty development workshop, and one of my colleagues made the comment, a lot of times we don't teach the students we have we teach the students we had. And I think what I kind of did for the videos that I've already created for this first week is I looked back at what in the past most students asked questions on, that I tried clarifying, that we don't go and ask questions again, and I went and I did videos on that material. The other thing I did for the videos is the things I normally would do on the whiteboard. Like this is the first time doing this course online. I've only done this course in the classroom. And when I was figuring out what videos to make, I said, okay, what do I usually do on the whiteboard? I'm like, oh, well, that's a lot. So I went and I created those. Okay, so let me, since I'm saying Irvine Chapter 1 is the first thing that we're going to look at, let me just take a peek. This link right here, this has the slides, so it's a PDF of the slides at 2 per page. So if you're sort of viewing on your computer, it would be sort of like almost easier to bring up this, and then you can see a slide at a time. I suggest you look at the overview video first, then bring up the slides, and then look for the detailed videos that explain things in a little more, well, a little more detail. And the difference between the 2 links, the other one is 6 per page. So if you're printing out, this one will go 6 slides per page. The one I just showed would be the 2 slides per page. Okay, so then when it comes time to submitting work, let me go home again. I know you all want to go home right now. I guess we're all already home. Multiple ways to get there. I know it's not what you want to hear. We already did see one. So remember the syllabus tab. The syllabus tab, the other thing it does is it lists all the assignments in chronological order. So for the first 2 items that we have, they're here. And by the way, I have a video embedded into this for submitting this lab. I have a video embedded in here for submitting that lab. And I have a video embedded here for submitting that homework. So I will have additional videos that will show you how to submit those items. And this way, instead of overwhelming, well, it already is overwhelming, instead of overwhelming much more in terms of video, you'll be able to go in that way. So one way to access the thing, whatever is due, is to look at the syllabus tab. The other thing is when you're home, on the home tab, in the right-hand corner, you should see a to-do list. And these would be the items that are due that you haven't yet submitted. So if I see here for June 8th, these 2 items are listed here. So if you're sitting here on the modules tab and you look to the right, then you can see what's due. And what will happen is as you submit things, they'll fall off this, this list. And then if I scroll down, the thing I viewed before is that the assignments then are also down here as well. So there's multiple ways to get there, and you may find yourself gravitating more towards one than towards another. But there, again, different ways of getting to the same information. And just as a reminder, inside, let me open it. So when you work on the Architecture Lab 1, I actually do have a video for how to submit that lab. And then when you work on the Hello World, I have a video on how to submit the lab. And then later when you get to the homework, I'm sorry, this homework here, I have a video on how to submit the homework. And what will happen is a number of the other assignments are going to be similar to it. So the way that you submit Assembly Lab 1 is the same way you're going to submit Assembly Lab 2, so there's not an additional video here. The way you submitted Arc Lab 1 is going to be the same way you submit Arc Lab 2, so there's not a video here. Okay. Let me pause, make sure I didn't miss anything. Yes, I did miss one thing. So you're welcome to jump ahead on any of the material that's here. The issue is just not all the material is loaded yet. So what I have up top here, the idea of this posting status, is I'm kind of letting you know at what point I'm going to get to loading things. So by the way, so this right here, the week 1 videos, the Accessing Navigating Canvas, the reason why this isn't listed here is not done, because I'm actually creating it. But what will happen is as the semester progresses, I'll be listing here what's done and what is the next thing that I'll work on.